I've been thinking, which I do a lot, I've been thinking about Wimbledon tennis, and I made a video about Wimbledon tennis many years ago now, talking about how it was wrong to pay women the same as men in prize money, considering that they played less tennis. And I still believe in what I said. However, there is an angle that I didn't look at that maybe I should look at. And the angle is that women are playing each other, and it's not right to compare how they play to how men play, because men are different entities and play each other differently. And so the argument could be made that it's true that women play less tennis, but that doesn't really matter, because all that matters is that one woman beat another woman, and in that zone, that's what happened. And the same happens with men. So men and women play different amounts of tennis because they're different entities, but they're still competing with each other. So the fact that the amount of tennis is different between the sexes is not relevant. And if a woman wins in her area, then that's what matters. It doesn't matter that a woman plays less tennis than a man, because they're not to be compared, because they're different entities. So I understand that this is an argument to say that a woman beating another woman with less amount of tennis does not mean that they should be paid less in prize money. So the argument could be made that if a woman beats another woman playing less tennis than a man playing another man, then it still should count as full prize money. So I understand how an argument could be made that a woman should be paid the same even if they're playing less tennis, because we're not comparing like with like. Men play a different amount of tennis to women. It's the question and the payment regards how a man or a woman compares to each other. So I understand that, but then it raises the argument that if we have men's tennis where a man plays more tennis for their money, for his money, and a woman plays less tennis for her money, and yet the amount is still the same, because they're being compared to each other, not between men and women. The women are being compared with each other. The argument could be made that we could then have a children's department of tennis. So we have men's game, women's game, and then a children's game. And we could say that if a 10-year-old child beats another 10-year-old child, then that's equivalent to a man playing another man and a woman playing another woman. So they should be paid the same. So the argument could be made that two 10-year-olds playing tennis at Wimbledon should be paid the same in prize money as the man or the woman, because they're being compared to each other, not between the ages and sexes. So I don't think this is the right way of looking at things. We shouldn't say that two 10-year-olds playing tennis are equivalent in importance to two men playing tennis or two women playing tennis. I don't think it's the same thing at all. So we shouldn't pay two 10-year-olds the same amount as we pay the men or the women. So the argument that women make to say that they're playing each other and not playing men, and it's not fair to compare men and women because they're different entities. So I think that that's not valid. I think that the men and the women should be paid different amounts. The men should get more money because they make more effort, play more games than the women. In the same way as the men and the women should not have the same pay as two 10-year-olds playing. Because two 10-year-olds are playing against each other, that's true. But they still should not be paid the same as the men and the women, because the amount of tennis played is less. So the bottom line is that the women tennis players saying that they're competing against each other and not competing with men, and so they should be paid the same as men even though they're playing different amounts of tennis. I don't think that's valid. The men play the most tennis, they should get paid the same also, the most in prize money. Then the women, and if two 10-year-olds were to play, they should be paid less than the men and the women. So I hope this random talk is clear. Male tennis players should be paid more than women because they make more effort, play more games. And that's simply the way it is. And so there are no arguments that women can make to say they should be paid the same. It is wrong and misandric to pay men less money than the women, essentially.